Moshe's Mishkan, Shlomo's Mikdash, Haftarat, Terumah. Have we already discussed how the Haftarah corresponds with the Torah portion rather than necessarily reflecting it? If the answer is no, then the time has come. If the answer is yes, the time has come again. I guess what I'm trying to say is that no matter how you look at things, the time has come. Not surprisingly, the Haftarah for the Torah portion dealing with the construction of the portable Mishkan focuses on the building of its permanent counterpart, the Mikdash. The Haftarah begins with Shlomo's great wisdom that commentators disagree on whether it manifests in architectural abilities or political alliances. It describes Shlomo's work method for transporting building materials to construct the house, the human techs in Lebanon, the porters and stonecutters. It then provides an initial and partial description of the house Shlomo built for Hashem, and finally it concludes with 3 verses of promise that Hashem gives Shlomo. If you keep my laws, I will dwell among the children of Israel and not forsake them. The question that caught my attention, well, to be honest, it had to tug at my beard and screech in my ear because it took me a long time to notice it, was the opening verse. If the reason for reading this Haftarah is the similarity between building the Mishkan and the Mikdash, we could have started with the Mikdash construction. What is the significance of the wisdom Hashem gave Shlomo? To refine the question, there are a few things worth clarifying. There is a parasha whose main concern is the wisdom given to one of the Mishkan builders, but it's not Parashat Terumah. Betzalel, the Mishkan builder who Hashem filled with wisdom, stars in Parashat Vayakel, not in our parasha. Our parasha can't even be compared to Parashat Ki Tisa, where the wise Betzalel first appears. In Parashat Terumah, he doesn't appear at all. Correspondingly, the Haftarah of Vayakel, or more clearly for the Sfardim than for the Ashkenazim, decided that Betzalel's counterpart, or perhaps his partner from the tribe of Dan, Oholiab's counterpart, is not Shlomo. The wise man who is filled with divine wisdom in building the temple is Hiram, son of the widow from the tribe of Naphtali. Betzalel might be the hero of Parashat Vayakel. The hero of Parashat Terumah, however, is Moshe. Moshe, who manages the Mishkan building from above, is the only person mentioned in it. Therefore, it makes sense that the Haftarah of Terumah deals with Shlomo, the king responsible for the Mikdash construction work, and not with Hiram, the executive manager. Once we understand that a comparison is needed between Moshe's place in the parasha and Shlomo's place in the Haftarah, one central question arises. As I said in Parashat Terumah, which contains 96 verses, Moshe is the only person mentioned as an individual. In all 96 verses, he is mentioned once in the opening verse, and Hashem spoke to Moshe saying. On the other hand, Shlomo is mentioned in 20 verse Haftarah 9 times. If we ignore the word Shlema, complete, that masquerades as the king, Shlomo, and would complete the count to 20. Mathematic lovers can calculate the difference between 1 out of 96 and 9 or 10 out of 20. What can we learn from such a significant difference? Let me suggest 2 lines of thought. The first relates to the role Shlomo plays in building the temple, and it requires a brief journey in time. At the end of David's life, Hashem becomes angry with Bnei Israel and incites David to count them, which leads to a plague among the people. The question asked is why? That is, it's clear from the verses that the plague comes because of counting, but why is Hashem angry with Israel in the first place? Why does he make him count them? Despite Rashi's answer, I don't know, Radak, in the name of the Midrash, in the additional commentary, the first one he agrees with Rashi, and following him Ramban and Sefer Bamidbar, say that Hashem is angry because they didn't build the Mikdash. Radak takes this discussion to an educational place. If the Israelites in David's time, a period before the first Mikdash was built, were punished for not seeking to build Bet HaMikdash, we, who know that we are obligated to build it, all the more so. Ramban, on the other hand, asks the obvious question. How can the Israelites in David's time be punished for not building the Mikdash? After all, David wanted to build it, and Hashem told him he wasn't suitable. Ramban answers that we must distinguish between David's building as a private individual, something he cannot do because his hands are full of blood, to the people whose role it is to seek and build the temple always. The question will be, what is Shlomo's role? A substitute for David or a substitute for the people? From the abundance of Shlomo and wisdom and reference, the answer seems clear. This insight leads to another insight. 10 Shlomos versus 1 Moshe can also point to the difference between Moshe and Shlomo, or in fact the difference between Moshe and any other mortal. Shlomo is a king and the wisest of all men. That's why we mentioned his chokhmah. That is, a complete Israelite with a strong sense of self. Moshe is the humblest of all men. He can nullify himself and be only a divine channel. Therefore, Moshe's Mishkan, at least in our parasha, lacks Mosheness, but Shlomo's Mikdash is very shalem. This has an implication expressed in the verses that conclude the Haftarat. Shlomo's Mikdash comes with a condition. If you walk in my statutes, then I will dwell among the children of Israel. And from the positive, you will hear the negative. A temple built through human greatness and wisdom may be destroyed if that greatness ceases. The self-nullifying Moshe's Mishkan, on the other hand, has no such condition. A divine Mishkan has no expiration date. May we merit it. In memory of my beloved and heroic student, Amichai Shimon, son of Yishai and Bat Yerubin, Hashem Mikom Damo. Tovi Holtz, one who loves Tanakh.